How you doing? This is my name is Damian Perkins. This is Blakeland Hannah, and we're trying our podcast out. This is brand new. This is Same Team, Different Jerseys. I am a obviously white, straight, conservative male, and I will let Blakeland, as I will refer to her from now and into the future, as Hannah. I will never call her by her first name. Go ahead.
Hey everybody, I'm Blakeland Hannah. As we know, my host / co-host is a white male. In the community, I would be labeled as a mask lesbian. I am very conservative. And the world today says that we should not be friends. Society says that because he's a white male and I'm a lesbian, we cannot be friends. But here we are, and we are two friends, and we're here to talk about everything. Anything and everything.
Except sports.
Yes, minus sports.
Yes,
No,
if you are here to find out the current score for the Green Bay game, that's not going to fucking happen. This is not going to be child friendly either. We are both ex-military, and we might swear a lot.
I don't even think "might's" the correct word. We're going to swear a lot.
There's going to be a lot of curse words. YouTube will not monetize us, probably.
Yeah, I have a feeling a lot of our episodes are going to be blocked. But
probably.
That's all right. We'll deal with that when we get there.
Okay.
But if you want to talk about anything and everything, minus sports, that's what we're here for. We're going to talk about potentially current political events. We're going to talk about cars. We're going to talk about guns. We're going to talk about video games or computers or anything and everything. Just, yeah, don't come here looking to see who's winning, who's going to the Super Bowl, who won the Super Bowl, because it's not happening.
I might find out. I don't know.
I mean, I'll look up afterwards, but I'm not going to talk about it.
I'll watch the commercials. I mean, that's the only thing the Super Bowl is good for anymore anyways.
Yeah.
And they've gotten pretty shitty. They've gotten shitty.
Downhill.
Ever since I got rid of the Coca-Cola Bears or the Budweiser, once I got rid of the Budweiser Clydesdales, that was pretty much it. But that was actually a nice transition to go into the labels. So you mentioned you were called you would be considered a what? A
mask lesbian.
Okay, I know nothing about any of these fucking labels, by the way. I don't have a clue. We were talking earlier today while I was at work on the phone, and she whipped out like 12 labels from femme to mass to what was the STEM?
STEM, yeah.
STEM, yeah. I know nothing about any of these. I disagree with labels. Even to the point of, I guess we got into the conversation. One of the things I hate about labels, if somebody introduces themselves, and I would be considered, both of us would be considered a vet, but I would never walk up to you and go, "Hi, my name's Damian Perkins. I'm a vet."
Yeah.
Much like she wouldn't walk up to you and go, "Hi, I'm Blakeland Hannah. I'm a lesbian." Nobody fucking.
It might be a label, but it's not our identity, right? And I think that's a huge issue right now is people are like, oh, I have to have this identifier. Like people have to know what and who I am. And I think that's who you are, what you are, as far as your label is not your identity.
Yes.
You know, like, yes, military is a big portion of our background and a big portion of our life. And 90% of our conversations, I think, we end up somehow getting on track to the military and it was like this and it was like that, but that doesn't identify us as a person. Like why do we have to identify with this label? Why does everybody have to fall under a label?
I think it makes people feel better. Much like, I mean, with anything, gangs, any type of label, any type of gang, people are just trying to find some sort of acceptance. And unfortunately, a lot of the labels right now give them that sense of I'm part of something and it makes me special. everything we see online with the LGBTQ plus XYZ, it makes them feel like they're part of something, and you don't need to. You don't need to label yourself to be part of something. You're Hannah. I'm Damien. It's just the way it is. Now, if you get into a conversation to ask us about ourselves, we have no problem telling you. But I think I think everybody's desperately trying to be accepted. I think that's the biggest problem with labels right now.
I can see that, but I'm not saying that, like, we should completely dissolve all of these groups, right? Like,
No, no.
we have the LGB, right? We have the
Yeah.
lesbian, gays, and bis, and then we have the Q, T, and plus,
T and
and
Qs.
and whatever, right? Which are more so about identity. Well, what's the word I'm looking for? I think that the Q's and the T's, it's more about their identity as a person, whereas like LGB, we're more so aimed towards like, this isn't our identity. This is just, it's the same concept as like straight. You know, you have straight people, you have heterosexuals, whatever you want to call it. So it's more so about just our orientation. We're not saying that like our whole like my whole identity is not lesbian. Like, you're not gonna find rainbows in my house. You're not gonna find random freaking lesbian orientated shit in my house. Like, the only thing that gives you a hint that I am a lesbian is the way I present myself, which I present myself a little bit more masculine. I have short hair, I wear men's clothes, whatever. But that's not what I identify with.
I don't know how I feel about it yet, and I don't know how true it is, but somebody said that the LGB has everything below to do with below the waist, and the T and the Q has everything to do with the brain.
I can get with it. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's why there's actually a huge movement right now to separate the LGB and the TQ and everything else, because everything else is to deal with your identity and your brain and how you feel, and LGB has nothing to do with that's just who you are. You don't feel that way. That it's a sexual preference.
Yeah.
That's
And I
yeah.
mean, if you look at what the Q's and the T's are fighting for, the L coming from an L, right? I got what I wanted. I have a wife. I can claim her on my insurance. We can file taxes together.
Yeah, everything you
You
guys
know,
fought for, especially me being older than you in the 80s and early 90s, what you guys fought for, you won. You got it.
yeah,
There's nothing off limits. Now there may be some homophobic people out there, but you're always going to have bad apples. You're never going to be able to
oh
stop
yeah,
that. I mean, the whole getting rid of like racism and homophobia and transphobia and all saying that you want that completely gone, that's a fever dream. You're living in Skittles land.
you're
There's
looking for
always
a utopia that's never going to be there.
yeah,
That's an ideology. You can't get rid of
yeah,
ideologies.
yeah. All you guys wanted. I mean, I can't tell you how many older gays I have talked to that said, we didn't care if you hated us, as long as you let us in to get married. Like, you could hate
Yeah,
us all you want. As long as we got to do what we wanted to do, we didn't give a shit, that you hated us. And I think the peak when marriage became open for gays, I think that was the peak of nobody said anything bad about being gay. Like, nobody would come out and call you the F word in public,
yeah,
out in the open. Because not only would you or a gay person get pissed, you'd have 20 straight people behind them going, did you just fucking call that person that? Like, and now I think you're starting to, from what we hear, the marriage thing is now on the table.
yeah. We'll see. I don't know.
I don't think it's going to happen.
I
That's
don't
my
think it will
personal opinion.
either.
That's my personal
I
opinion.
I feel like there's too much change that comes with that,
Yep.
right? Like if you get rid of it, like Amber and I have talked about it, and she was reading up on it, and she was like, well, they're talking about like, and I don't know how legit the source is, right? Because I didn't look into it.
Right.
But she was like, well, they're talking about doing like a grandfathering program where, because I was like, well, if the Supreme Court goes back on their verdict, right, and they get rid of it, I was like, now it's up to the states, just like it was before it was at the Supreme Court level. It's up to the states.
Yeah.
And we can obviously identify states that are going to allow gay marriage, right? California, Oregon, Washington, Colorado, New
The blue
York,
states,
all the blue
yes.
states, right? All the blue states are
Yeah.
going to be like, yep, we're all for it.
Yeah.
But then you got states like Texas, maybe Florida,
Arizona.
you got some more red states that might, and then it also depends on how that state does their legislation. Like in the state of Texas, it's up to the legislators, and the legislators have to, if 2/3 of them decide, hey, no, we disagree, then it goes up to the constituents, and then everybody in the state gets to vote.
Right.
Other states, it'll go to a vote, and then they'll decide based off of what the voting was. So, but she was telling me that they're going to talk about like a grandfathering program of like, if you were married in that state before this date, your marriage stands, your rights stand, your benefits stand. But if you're
Right.
married after this date, like you can't get married after this date. And then I'm like, okay, well, how does that work for the military? Like you're stationed in California, you and your wife, or you and your husband, you get married, but then you PCS to a state where now it's not allowed. How does that affect your service? Like, how does that affect your rights? But I guess it would be a grandfathering across the board, that if you were in a state where it was allowed and you were married and you go to a state where now it's not allowed, they have to honor it. And it just feels like there's a lot of red tape.
Yes. That I know, because there's a lot of rules that where the UCMJ is the rules that we go by in the military, that says this is the rule we go by, but it defaults to the state we're in. So there's a lot of things that you can do in one state that you can't do in the other. But, say we'll use an example like if you get married at 17 in one state and the military says yes, the state says yes, and then you move to another state that said, no, you can't be married till you're 18. They can't dissolve that marriage because you PCS to that state. They have to honor that marriage. So I'm assuming it would be the same. Now, I'm going to say something really controversial. I think the Supreme Court should take it away, because before you shoot me, because much like the abortion, now I disagree with abortion, but if the law was made, then I would obey the law. Congress should do their fucking job and make it a law. So the Supreme Court is not for making laws, and they found some. They did a stretch for abortion and gay marriage. It was a stretch. There's nowhere in the Constitution that talks about any of this. I'm sorry, you can't convince me otherwise. When gay marriage was at its height of popularity, even Republicans were all for it. Congress should have made a bill, passed a law, and this wouldn't even be a fucking issue right now.
Because it wouldn't get overturned, because now it's the land of the law. It's across the board.
And federal. This isn't like you live in Texas, can't get married, go to California, get married, then go back to Texas, and they take away your fucking health insurance. No, once federal law says no, gay marriage is allowed, that's it. That's the end of that discussion. It doesn't matter that the deep South in Alabama says no, we don't like gay marriage. Oh, fucking tough. And when I say I want the Supreme Court to get rid of it, I don't want anybody to think that I'm against gay. I am 100% for gay marriage. I think it should have been a law. I think the way it went about it was wrong. Abortion,
I agree with you.
That'll be a totally different podcast. Pooh.
I think I'd agree, right? I obviously want the legality of getting married, right? I want to be able to have a wife and file taxes together and health insurance and all this other stuff, right? I want all of that. But I would agree that it should have been Congress and the House and everybody doing their jobs and being like,
Yeah.
hey, is this something? Because everybody knows if it goes to the Supreme Court, just like we saw with Roe versus Wade, if it goes to the Supreme Court, once you have new Supreme Court
Judges.
justices brought in, they can be like, we don't like this. We're getting rid of it.
It's
And that's
gone.
not their job. Their job is not to make the laws of the land. That's
Yeah.
the government side. That's the House and Congress and that's
Senate.
their job.
And,
That's their
yeah.
job. They should have done their job and made it a federal law to where now there is no ability for it to be taken away
Yeah.
because now it's the lay of the land.
Yeah, because
You know?
you run into the problem where, okay, now they want a lot of the laws that are being taken away, the Democrats don't like it. So now they have solutions of, well, we can add more judges. So now you're packing the courts. Now you're going to lopside it one way. And at no point in time do I hate Democrats. We need them. There's an old saying that the Democrats are the gas pedal and Republicans are the brakes. And in order for a car to run, you need both of those. I may not agree with everything a lot of things the Democrats want, but I need that other side to show me something that I can't see because I'm a conservative Republican. So I'm not looking at it through that lens. Now, if somebody can explain it to me without screaming, that would be great. But you need both sides. And when it comes to, oh, I don't like what the courts do, so let's pack the courts. Well, now you're just going to lopside it. You can't have nothing but Democrats. That's going to be bad too. You guys, everybody out there in the land might think that when, having all Democrats is going to be great. It's not. It'll be terrible because any one person in power is going to fuck it up. You need the other side.
Yeah, you got to have that checks and balances.
Yeah.
That's why we have what is it, two different legs of the government? Because you have to have checks and balance.
Yeah, yeah,
right.
yeah.
That's why the president can't just, I'm gonna make this a law, and they can't just whip out their pen and write it and be like, this is a law now. Like, no, it has to go through
right.
it sort of
Executive
still
orders,
has to
but
go, yeah,
but courts can challenge it, and they've
yes, it
changed
still
that a
has
little
to
bit.
go through, like a great example, like the president can't just call for like, oh, we're going to war today. Like, there's still a process.
Right.
They do. The president holds that last initial power, but it still has to go through those different stages of like, okay, why are we going to war? And it still has to come together. Like even when 9/11 happened, like there was still a process. Like we didn't have boots on the ground in Iraq the next day. It didn't happen that way.
And the president can go to war, but it's like for 30 days. And there's a lot of laws that he can't just do a full on World War II, III. He can't do that. I mean, there's wiggle room for him to deploy troops, but for the most part, yes, Congress needs to say, yes, we can do this.
Yeah. So there's still a process. But I'd agree. I would think that they should overrule it, right? But there needs to be a plan.
Yes.
Right? There needs to be a plan. Like, are we okay, hey, the Supreme Court's gonna overturn it, and now we're looking at Congress and everybody to do their fucking job, right? And now it's gonna be made a land or a law federally across the nation. Or are we just gonna turn it back over to the states and we're just gonna deal with the backlash? Like, I think there needs to be a plan. I don't think they can just blindly overturn it. Like we knew with Roe versus Wade, hey, the plan is to leave it up to the states, and the states get to decide if they're pro-life or pro-choice or what the rules and the laws are going to be for each state.
Yeah, the abortion issue, I think the gay marriage issue is 100 times easier than the abortion issue. That one's not going. I think the abortion issue is perfect the way it is. It's with the states because you're never going to get a law passed, whether it's heartbeat laws, whether it's full abortion, whether it's full pro-life. I'm 100% pro-life, but I even know that there's no way that's gonna be able to happen.
Well, yeah,
It
I'm pro-choice, and I know there's no way it's ever gonna be 100%
Yeah,
pro-choice, right? Like, we
yeah,
both know that. We know that there has to be the conversation of what's a happy medium? What compromises are both sides willing to make to where everybody is mutually happy? Now, right now, there are states that are doing that. There are states that are putting it out to a vote, and they're kinda testing the waters when that happened. They tested the waters to
yes.
see, okay, how pro-life can we go and how pro-choice can we go?
Yeah,
And then there were
how
some
far can we go
states.
before we piss off the majority of people in our
Yeah,
state?
yep, yeah. So and then there are some states,
Yeah,
that the people didn't get to make a vote on, and that's because of the way the legislation is ran.
yeah,
And it is what it is. Like if you're in a state where you don't it doesn't get put to ballot until so many people in your state legislator say, "Hey, no, it needs to be put to a vote.
yeah,
We can't agree on this." Then guess what? You need to vote for people who are on your side of the aisle, right? You need
right,
to vote for the guy or the gal that's like, "Oh, I'm pro-choice and it needs to be put to a vote and we need to change the law." Well,
right.
guess what? That's the person that you need to vote for. If that's the hill you're willing to die on, that's the person you
Yeah.
need to vote for.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, I would
we went off on a tangent. We
we did.
started with
Yeah.
labels and fucking we're on abortion, and we weren't supposed to go on abortion until, like, 3 episodes from now.
Yeah, it's all right.
Um,
People can find out early if they're gonna like us or not, I guess.
yes, we go off on tangents. We will start on something, but, the whole label thing came from, Hannah sent me a video of a person that was saying she's a lesbian. She had men her whole life, and then she started dating a woman, and she wanted that label of being a lesbian. And Hannah made a comment on the TikTok saying, "Why do you need that label, anyways?" So, and we're not going to give out names of our spouses or children, by the way, on this. So don't even ask us. We'd like a little bit of privacy because we are conservative and we do talk about pretty much everything. And if anybody decides to email us, we will send out emails and where you could ask us questions and stuff. And we'll get into that later once we get a little bit better at this. But yeah, don't even go under family things because we're not going to indulge that and we will block you right off the bat. And if you notice both of us, you don't see hers, but you see mine, don't do it. Um, but you're kind of in the same situation. Your wife had had men. Does she want to be called a lesbian? Or does she care? Or do you even care if she identifies as that? Like, is it something that like you think about even?
Not necessarily, no. Like I don't like obviously, like, I mean, I call myself a lesbian, right? Because that's the
Yeah,
definition of
yeah,
a
you've been
woman
that
who loves
since.
women is a
Yeah,
lesbian,
yeah,
but I don't feel why we have to have that label. Like, I mean, do you go around and people see that you're with your wife and you're like, "Oh, I'm a straight man."
see, and I
Like,
don't.
no, like that doesn't happen, right? And I think that's so hard to comprehend in a way for some people is because like it's like we've been taught and been raised and been almost brainwashed in a way to believe that we have to have this label. We have to have
Yeah,
this label of what we identify with and who we are and what we are. And I don't see it that way. Like you said, you don't introduce somebody and be like, "Hey, I'm so and so and I'm straight. This is my wife."
right.
Like you don't do that. I don't introduce myself to people and be like, "Hey, I'm Blakelyn and this is my wife. Oh, by the way, I'm a lesbian." Like
Yeah,
I don't do that. Now if
yeah.
somebody's like, "Hey, what's your sexual orientation?" I'm like, "Oh, well, I'm a lesbian. I
Which is really
have
weird
only
to
dated
ask a
women."
stranger.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I'm the
Like
first time I
I
met you, I didn't ask. I didn't care.
no. But
You
at the
know.
same time, like I think that labels were also created for the ones that like that lady discussed on that TikTok, like she's a more femme presenting woman. And so like you go into a bar and you see a woman and if you're attracted to them, you're like, "Oh, okay, well I'm gonna go call it that real quick and I'm gonna go see
Yeah,
how it goes." Whereas
yeah,
like femmes who are at a bar, like I can't tell you how many times when I was single, I've been to bars and I've seen women, I'm like, "Oh man." she's pretty good looking. Like, I'm gonna go talk to her. And then you see them with a guy and you're like, oh, well, shit, maybe I'm not gonna go talk to her. I guess she's straight. So I think that's where the labeling kind of comes into play, is because a femme who happens to want the companionship of another woman, she doesn't have that where they present looking like they enjoy
Right.
women. Whereas like masked lesbians, you see me at a bar, you're not going to be like, oh, that girl, she's the one, unless you're another woman. Like, some dude is not going to look at me and be like, oh shit, that's the girl for me. Like, it's not going to happen. They're going to know that I bat for the other team.
Are you
Whereas
saying
femmes,
your gaydar is broken?
I don't think gaydar is a thing. I don't think gaydar is a thing. I don't think gaydar is a thing. But I think it comes down to confidence, right? Because I mean, I can't tell you how many girls I've talked to, and I never approach somebody with like, I don't spit out lines and try to like use pickup. I don't do that. I don't spit out pickup lines. I will just go talk to a person. And my first thing is I might look at them and be like, okay, they're cute. I want that. But when I go and talk to them, I don't try to use pickup lines. I don't try to pick them up. I just try to get to know them. And as I talk to them, it'll indicate and it'll tell me, okay, they also like women. So this is good. Let's continue this. And then it'll lead into, hey, we should, like, we should get a beer sometime, or we should get a coffee, or we should go see a movie or something. And if they're down, then they're down. And if they're not, then they're not.
Can
And
you
I think
find out
that's
in the
where,
first 60 seconds?
if I ask the right questions, yeah.
You
Yeah.
know if they're down.
Yeah.
Not necessarily to sleep with you that night, but okay, this is potential.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's pretty apparent. And it's not like there's any like key indicators, but you'll, just like when you find somebody who's interested in you, right? Like, I think anybody within the first like couple of minutes of talking to someone that you are visually attracted to, right? When you initially go talk to them, in the first couple of minutes of talking to them, you can pick up on whether or not they're also visually into you as well.
Yeah, straight guys can't do this. We're stupid at this.
No,
We're fucking morons at this. Because we think you're into us if you're just nice to us, which really messes up my wife because she's a sweetheart to everybody.
I
And
think that's everybody though.
every
I think that's
guy,
everybody.
yeah,
I think everybody nowadays has picked up on, oh, if you're being nice to me, you're flirting with me. Like, I am nice to everybody. I am not flirting with everybody. I'm nice to my guy friends. Like, I have guy friends that I'm like, oh, baby, what's up? The heck? And they know I'm not hitting on them by any means. I'm
man,
just being nice and I'm being goofy with them.
I thought you
There's a
wanted to.
guy,
I thought you wanted to sleep with me.
there's a guy in my Discord, and I call him daddy every time he gets onto the chat. And I'm like, ooh, big daddy, what's up? And he knows that I
Fucking
have
hate that.
absolute zero interest in him. Zero
Yeah.
interest in him.
I mean,
But it's just me being, it's me being funny. It's me being nice.
Yeah.
It's me, we have this camaraderie, whatever. So I can be nice to people. That doesn't necessarily mean I'm sleeping with them or I
Right.
want to sleep with them. Like,
and guys don't. I can only talk about straight men. Gay men, if you want to chime in on this, please tell me. But for straight men, yeah, if you're nice, hence the reason why I kind of understand. I think it's wrong, but I understand why most women are unless they see you and they're instantly attracted to you, why women they're labeled as a bitch or, whatever, because they're being mean. They're not being mean because they know from experience that if they're nice, just nice to a guy, he automatically thinks, oh, she wants to sleep with me, because we're so used to women not being nice to us. Like it's something that we're very used to. I can't tell you how many. I mean, I'm just used to a woman not being nice to me, and I've had to learn that just because that could be because when I first met you, you were a very outgoing person. Like, I hit it off with you right off the bat because we're both real talkative. But I knew, okay, yeah, just because she says hi to me doesn't mean she wants the D.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've been rejected. I've had women at a bar that have had a bartender one time. My buddy and I went to this like little podunk bar when I was up in Minot,
Yeah.
and the bartender was attractive, and he was like, "Yo, you should ask her out." And I was like, "We just got here. She hasn't even gotten our drinks yet." And he's like, "Yeah, but she's cute. You should ask her out." And I'm like, I don't know anything about this woman. Like, I don't know if she's down. I don't know what she's into yet. I was like, you need to give it like 20, 30 minutes. Let us get our drinks ordered. Let me spark up a conversation and we'll see how it goes. And he's like, no, no, no. Just do it. Just be that person. Just fucking do it. And I'm like, no, no, no. So she comes over to us. We're sitting at the bar. She obviously takes our order, and I'm like, hey, because we've been to this bar quite a bit, quite a bit. And I'm like, hey, I've never seen you here. Like, how long have you worked here for? And she's like, oh, I've been working here for years. She's like, but I only work on certain nights. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm like, so what nights do you work? And she's like, oh, well, I work on like, whatever the days were, I work on Tuesdays and Fridays, whatever the case is.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, all right. That explains why I've never seen you because we don't usually come here on those days. And she kept going with the conversation after I was like, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. She kept going with the conversation. So now I'm like, okay, maybe she is interested because she's continuing
Yeah.
to pursue this conversation outside of her job duties.
Right.
Outside of
You had an
give me
ending
my
to the
drink.
conversation and then she continued it.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
that's a clear indicator that somebody is somewhat attracted to you, whether it's visually or whatever, right? So I
Yeah.
was like, all right, cool. So she continues the conversation, with like, what are you guys doing? Like, you guys, what do you guys do? Oh, we're both in the military. We're stationed up here at the base, whatever. And she's like, oh, okay, right on. She's like, how long have you served for? And I'm like, oh, I've been in for XYZ amount of years. And she's continuing to ask the questions. Like, I'm just answering them. And then I'm like,
Yeah.
stone cold, like done with the conversation. So I'm like, okay, cool. So she's interested. So we're there. We're continuing to order drinks, right? We're getting a little buzz going or whatever. And she brings me a beer immediately. Like, I didn't ask for another one. She just brought me another beer. And I'm like, hey, what are you doing this weekend? And she's like, oh, I'm off this weekend. And I'm like, cool. I'm like, you want to go get a beer with me? Like, not at your work? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, all right, cool. So we exchange numbers or Snapchats, whatever it is. And my buddy and I, we leave. And I'm like, yo, I'm gonna take her to JL Beers. I'm gonna go get a beer. And so we do it. We go to JL Beers, we get a beer, and she's like, right off the bat, she's like, hey, I'm into you. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, well, obviously I'm into you too, because I've asked you to go get a beer with me. And she tells me from the get-go that, she's in a poly relationship. She has a girlfriend that they're both poly. And I'm like, okay, cool. Right on. Well, like, do I need their approval? Like, what's the process here? And she's like, nope, I show you a picture. I show a picture of you to her. And then, as long as we're not bringing it to my house, then we're good. And I'm like, all right, cool, bet. And it just kind of like took off from there. Like, you can tell when people are into you.
Have you
If
ever
you go,
been wrong? Have
oh
you ever
yeah, oh
walked up
yeah,
to her
oh yeah,
thinking, oh, this is
oh
going to
yeah,
go good, and she's
oh
straight
yeah,
as a fucking arrow?
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. But I can also say in my track record, I've slept with more straight women than I have gay women.
Yeah, it's the spaghetti theory.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
All women are
yeah,
straight until they're wet.
yeah, yeah. Um, one of my like first serious girlfriends in high school was straight, had only been with dudes, never imagined she'd be with a woman. And that one kind of took off in a weird route. Like, I fucking sucked at math, man. And I was fucking really bad at math at one point. And she was in my class and she was a straight A student. And I was like, hey, you're really good at math. I was like, I need some fucking help. Cause like,
Yeah.
I have to graduate. Like, I was already in the debt program. I was like, I have to graduate. Like,
Right.
I can't get held back. I can't not graduate. And she's like, okay. She's like, let's plan a time for you to come over to my house. And at the time, like, I'm a senior, I was working, I was also doing soccer, and I was like, my schedule's kind of tight. I was like, but I'll figure it out. And so we planned a date, and I came over to her house, and we think I was there for about an hour or so, and we hit the books, like, we were legit studying. By the 3rd time that I came around, we weren't just studying.
There's extracurricular
Yeah,
activities going on.
yeah, not initiated by me. I was genuine there, like, don't get me wrong, I was attracted to this girl, right? She
Yeah.
was she was a good-looking girl, but,
But you were actually I'm here to study, damn it. I'm actually
yeah, like, I legit was like, "I need to pass math," like, you know? Like, so yeah, like, I mean, I guess you could say I was kinda innocent, whatever, but I was like, "I need to fucking pass math, dude," like, you know? So, but yeah, by, like, the 3rd time of me coming around and hanging out, um, she would kinda, "Oh, hey, that's enough for now, like, we'll pick it up where we left off next time." And because we were doing, like, an hour or so at her house of me trying to fucking get better at math, and, yeah, by the 3rd time, like, I think, like, maybe 20 minutes into it, she, like, closed the books and she threw them onto her bed and she was like, "Hey, let's not do this. Let's just hang out." And I'm like, "Okay, cool." And, yeah, I mean, so, like, she initiated the flirting and, like, messing around and stuff and, started making the first moves, and I was like, "Oh, okay, like, you're straight. Okay, why not?" You
Well,
know?
I've asked my wife about this a lot because my wife is she was bi before me. Um, which okay, if we're going for the labels, would she's I mean, she's still technically bi, but she doesn't introduce herself. She stopped that when she was much younger. Like she was really into labels when she was younger, when she was in high
I
school
think
and stuff
everybody
like that.
was into labels when they were younger.
Yeah, she was really big into labels. And then it just it got old and if you ask her, she's pretty open about everything, but no, she doesn't go by labels anymore, obviously. But yeah, she used to her favorite thing to say is that there's a lot of straight gay women out there. They just don't know it yet.
But I think it has to play into the way you're brought up though too, right? Like, I've been with some girls that were brought up in the very religious, like, you're going to hell type stuff. So they had no idea what to do. They had no idea how to express these feelings or even try to explore these feelings. So
Right.
now they're adults and they're out on their own and
Yes.
they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna go do this." And then you're like, "Oh, I mean, you're straight. Like, what the fuck?" And then they're not.
But were your parents fine with it growing up? Or
No, no,
no?
no. My
Okay,
coming my
because
coming out story was hard.
oh, was it? Because my wife, she when her mom found out, since her mom was very religious, looked at her and said, "You're going to hell because of this." I mean, and it crushed her. It crushed my wife. Like it was such a mean thing to say, but
Yeah, mine's pretty similar to that. Yeah.
is it?
I came out at the end of my freshman year. It was graduation night for all the seniors and a group of me and my girlfriends, we were at my house, we were all getting ready, and I had never come out to anybody at this point. Okay, so I'm a freshman and I kind of realized at a very young age. And so I came out to my friends. We were in my bedroom. Um I kind of remember it like it was yesterday. Like I could tell you all the girls that were in my room that were my best friends that I came out to, and we're chilling in my room and we're getting ready, and we're getting dressed and stuff. And I was like, guys, I have to tell you something. And they're like, what's up? And I was like, I'm gay. And they were like, we know. I was like, what the fuck do you mean? Like, you know. Now you gotta imagine, like, up until this point, like, I still had long hair, right? Now, granted, I wasn't doing anything with it. I was just throwing it up in ponytails every day. But I was still wearing like girls' jeans. I was still wearing girls' t-shirts. Like
You didn't
I
present.
hadn't, yeah, I didn't present the way I present now. I didn't start presenting more masculine until I came out. Now, granted, I've always been a tomboy, right? I love shooting guns. I love shooting my bow. I love going hunting. I love the camping.
Yeah.
I'm not scared to get dirty, right? I was all into that stuff. I was never big into makeup. I was never big into hair. I was never big into dresses and clothes, like none of that. So I was very much the tomboy. And so I told them and they were like, yeah, we know. And I was like, all right. I was like, I need to tell my mom. And they were like, she doesn't know. And I was like, I don't think so. Now this is, you know, early-ish 2000s. Um, and I'm like, I don't think so. I don't think she knows. And they were like, go tell her right now. My mom is out in the living room watching TV because she's eventually going to drive us to go to graduation. And so I go out there, and all my friends are in my bedroom, and I go out there, and I was like, Mom, I got to tell you something. And she was like, what's up? And I'm like, I'm gay. And she's like, no, you're not. Go read the Bible. That was all she said.
Was your mom
That was it.
religious?
Oh yeah. My mom grew up
Okay.
Christian. We grew up Christian. When I was really little, we went to church every Sunday, like the whole 9 yards. You know. So, but that's all she said. And I turned around, I walked to my room, and they're like, "How'd it go?" And I was like,
I guess I'm
"She
not
told me to
gay.
go." Yeah,
I
you
guess I'm not
know.
gay.
I guess not. I guess because God says I can't be. I guess I'm not. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm just not gay. I'll go find some D now, I guess.
Yeah,
How does that work? You know?
yeah. Uh, you know, and now mind you, like up until this whole point, like I'd never. Like, don't get me wrong, I had boyfriends, right? Because that was the normal thing to do, and I wasn't out. And so, like,
In
I
2000?
yeah, early 2000s, yeah,
I guess that's just shocking to me. Guess I'm a little
yeah.
naive on this one. I
But you know, I had never been with a woman yet. I had never actually been with a man. Like I'd kissed boys, right? Because I had boyfriends.
We suck at kissing when we're teenagers.
I had actually as a freshman, I had a senior boyfriend, and it was great because uh, he had a vehicle. So like anything and everything that I wanted to go do, we went and did.
That's a plus.
But I was secretly like seeing a girl on the side, but she was straight. Okay. Um, but she was really into me and I was really into her, and we would like wouldn't do anything sexual, but we would like kind of fool around, you know, and like, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
But I hadn't actually like slept with a woman. But yeah, so I mean, you know, but yeah, I had boyfriends and stuff, but I'd never done anything with them outside of kissing. Like never. And so then you fast forward to I moved to Vegas with my family or with my mom,
Hmm.
and I'm out. I'm out of the closet now, and I chopped off all my hair. I bought the clothes I wanted, and I started presenting the way I wanted to present, and it kind of opened my mom's eyes a lot because Vegas is very out and open, you
Yeah.
know. So you see a lot of things that we didn't see in my tiny hometown. So I think that kind of made it easier. But yeah, no, like it was weird. But
No,
I
you're not.
mean,
Just, I'm
yeah,
sorry.
no, you're not. Go read
Yeah,
the
I'm
Bible.
gay. No, you're
Yeah,
not. Go figure that shit out. You're not.
yeah. So,
Oh, shit, I guess.
um,
Okay.
so I can see how the way you are raised can affect that, and how you kind of crave that label.
Okay.
Because like when I was younger, the label was a lot. Like, and now granted, when I came out and I started going to school in Vegas and stuff, like I wasn't only hanging out with the gay kids or the lesbians or whatever. Like I hung out with everybody, you know. But back then, it wasn't so much of, oh, you're a lesbian. It was just gay. Like if you liked the same sex or you liked both sexes, like you were just gay. There was no lesbian or whatever, you know. It was just, oh, you're gay. Like that was the label at the time, is, oh, you're just gay.
And that was Vegas.
Yeah.
So I grew up in a fucking small ass town of 100 people. Like it literally changed its population from 99, or it was like 97 because it was 97, 96. It was 96. And they changed it when we moved there to 100 because there's me, my brother, my mom, my dad. And I remember there was one girl there that was bi, and she was allowed to say bi because you got to think this was way back. This was back in the 90s, late 80s, early 90s. Women could be bi, but men could not.
Yeah.
It didn't matter if you slept with both. If you sucked dick, it didn't matter if you did it once. You were gay. They didn't use gay, but that's it. There's no women were allowed to be bi, but I mean, I didn't know much about the community back then, so
Yeah.
I can't talk. I just know what I said. My town was very backwards and racist. I went to school at Glenburn, North Dakota, and my graduating class was 15.
Jesus.
So I always I don't tell people what my graduating class was. I just say I graduated 15th. To most people, they're like 15th. That's pretty damn good because they're thinking a school of 3,000 people. And if you graduated 15, that's like, oh my God, you're smart. No, I graduated 15
Out of
out of
15.
15. I was dead last. I scraped by the skin of my teeth. But it was so racist. And I was a base kid. My dad was military, so I was a base kid. So I didn't care about race, color, creed, gay, like then crap didn't bother me at all. And I dated a black girl named Yolana, and this town was so bad that so I always went to Minot because Minot was the big city. It had like a population of 30,000. That was the big city. And but I went to school in Glenburn, and word got back to the school that I was dating a black girl. And absolutely, oh my God, she was gorgeous. And I was young and stupid when I was dating her. So Yolana, if you see this, I am absolutely terribly sorry because she was drop dead gorgeous. And anyway, so I went to school, and the boys in the school, I think I was a sophomore or junior, they surrounded me, and they were like, "Yeah, we heard you're dating a black girl." They didn't use the word black.
Yeah.
Use your imagination, people. And I was like, yeah. And they were like, and I was well known to be very promiscuous. I was a whore when I was younger.
Weren't we
And
all?
yes, but I was bad. I'd fuck a snake if I can hold it still. But so they all, got around, and they were like, so what's it like? And I was like, what do you mean? What's it like? It's like, well, you've fucked her, right? And I was like, oh yeah, the shit's sideways. For 3 years, I had a whole bunch of kids in a small hick ass town thinking that a black woman's vagina was sideways. And I thought that was the most ignorant shit in my entire life. They were just, because when I was like, oh yeah, it's sideways. And they were like, really? And I
So
was like,
instead of it
yeah,
opening like this, it
yeah, it
opens
was
like
fucking, yeah. It looked like Pac-Man. But like, know, they fucking believed me. And I
oh
was
my
like, have
God.
you guys never seen a Playboy? Seriously, they have black girls in it. I was
Yeah,
like,
the shit's the
it's,
same.
I was like, it's not different. I
Oh
mean,
my God. Oh my God. Could you imagine what they thought about black men because of what you told them about a black woman?
I don't even know
You, because
logistically, how does that work?
because you know that they were like, okay, if women's is sideways, men's have got to be sideways. Like
Yeah,
you
it's got to be
because they're
weird.
so because they're so
Yeah,
stupid. They're like, oh, so
we
like, is their
yeah.
nut sack on the left or is it on the right?
So my school was K through my school was K through 12. So I didn't go to a high school. I K through 12. When I went to my math class,
Yeah.
I had to walk by kindergartners.
Oh,
So
Jesus.
it was K through 12. Nothing but white people. There was 110 people in the school, K through 12, 110 kids. And
Jesus Christ.
we did not have one race like on other than white. All the teachers were white. All the students were white. There was nothing in the school.
That's
So,
crazy.
and they didn't know, and they never went into town because they weren't welcome in Minot because that was the big city. They're not going into the big city. 30,000 people. Well, it's a big city. So they would stay in their
about
little.
that now.
No, it's they had an oil boom. Oh,
but
I forgot you were stationed. You were stationed at Minot.
It's not actually in like the huge oil boom. Like, yes, it was in North Dakota. It wasn't necessarily Minot though, but like Williston is where the big oil boom is at.
Oh, Williston got it? Okay, it was like
Yeah.
28, 30,000 people when I was there.
Yeah, it's like maybe 35. I think when I was there, it was around 35. So it's
Yeah.
not much bigger.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, but
Bismarck is still bigger.
yeah,
Grand Forks is still bigger. Fargo, all that shit. Like
cargo.
that's all big. Yeah, that's
Okay.
all big.
Yeah.
Minot,
But
not so much.
yeah, but yeah, if you're going from Minot to Minot Air Force Base, that direction on that road, because there's only one fucking road that
Yeah, I know
goes
where
through.
Glenburn's at.
Yeah. And then you hit
Yeah.
Glenburn, and then you
Mhm.
hit Lansford, which is a little further.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been through Glenburn.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, girl I dated, her dad, that's where her dad was from.
Oh, times have changed. Holy shit.
Yeah. 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 It's still, I won't say the base definitely kind of helped with a lot of that. Um, but you'll, even when I was up there, and this is, 2018 to 2022, you'll still find there's a lot of people that they're still a little racist.
A little?
Yeah. Now
That's,
there's definitely more ethnicities up there now, right? Like there's a lot more ethnicities. And the basis helps with that. Like I remember the first house I lived in up there, our next door neighbor was a black guy that retired from the Air Force, and he was like, I loved it here, so I settled here.
he
And I'm
fucking
like,
does he
he
know?
loved it.
He knows it snows, right? Because black
Yeah, he
people in
loved it.
snow normally don't get along.
He loved it. He was an awesome neighbor. Oh man, he was awesome. He was awesome. Yeah, he was like the coolest neighbor I've ever had. Um, but yeah, and I was like, what I was, and I was everybody kind of tells you a little bit about Minot before you go there, and they're like, yo, there's like no black people. And I was like, what the fuck? What do you mean there's no black people? Like
There's
we have a base there. We have a
that,
base there. I was like, what do
that's
you mean
where
there's no
all the
black
black
people there?
people are. That's where they all
And
are.
so I thought it was so crazy when we moved up there, and my first house I was in, my next door neighbor was a black guy, and I was like, are you stationed here? And he's like, nah, I retired here. I was like, you're a civilian? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, so what's the deal? And I straight up asked him, I was like, what's the deal? Like, people tell you about Minot before you come here. And he was like, right, yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, we tell you all the horrible things. And I'm like, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I'm like, how do you live here? And he's like, what do you mean? And I was like, well, I got told before I came here. And I was like, no offense. I was like, but I got told that like there's no black people up here. And he's like, oh no. He's like, we're here. He's like, you may not see us all out and about. He's like, but we're here.
We
And
say hidden.
I was like, that's crazy. Like,
I
so
got
it just shocked me because
yeah.
everybody tells you like there's all the jokes about North Dakota or even Minot, North Dakota, right? Like your dog runs away, you'll see it run away for 2 days because it's
Yeah.
so flat. There's a pretty girl behind every tree, and then you get to
There's
North
no
Dakota and you're
fucking
like,
trees up there.
there's no trees,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, all the trees they have are planted. Yeah, then
Yeah,
yeah.
in the cities, and that's it. Like
Yeah.
you start heading towards base, or you start heading towards
Yeah.
another major city, and you'll see like maybe 2 trees.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was I was like, holy shit. I was like, everybody lied. And then you go to that club, um, in town, Sports on Tap,
Yeah, that wasn't there when I
and
was there.
yeah, it's there now. It got blacklisted for a little while because some dude a military guy, I think, got killed right outside of it. And
Oh.
then a new base commander came in and was like, nah, fuck that. Because it's the only like club in the town. Like that's the only one.
Yeah.
But yeah, and he actually told me, there, he's like, you'll see some black people here. And I was like, okay. I was like, that's good, like awesome. And he was like, um he asked us if we were into bars and stuff like that. And I was like, oh yeah. I was like, hey man, where's a good place to drink? Or where's like, if I want to go party, like where am I going? And he told me about sports. He was like, oh, you need to go to sports. And I was like, okay, cool. I was like, is there like a specific night? Like, is there a thing? And he was like, just go on the weekend and you'll see. And so one of my first weekends that I had available, we went to sports. And going to sports, well, it'll show you how many black people are actually in that town. There's a lot.
There
It's
wasn't that
not,
many back then.
yeah, it's
It
pretty
was
good now. I mean, they're still primarily white people,
yeah.
but I mean, I think that's with any northern state.
Yeah,
But,
I grew
like, you look at Minot's or well, you look at North Dakota's heritage, right? They're a lot of them are Norwegian.
well, yeah. I mean,
So,
that whole northern up there, because I grew up in the whitest states in the world. Like, you didn't get any whiter than me.
yeah,
I was born in KI Air Force Base, Michigan, Upper Michigan. I'm a Youper. The accent is gone because I've moved around so much, but I can't even pull it out unless somebody from there or Minnesota gets on here and starts talking. Then the accent.
Minnesota, eh?
Oh yeah, we can go fishing down by the lake.
Oh,
We'll get a
yeah?
30 pack.
Yeah.
So yeah. But
Yeah,
I
when you
grew up.
start picking up that I picked up that accent a little bit while I was there. I came back and I said, because they pronounce up north, they pronounce their A's funny, right? So, like, you say it's a bag, and up north, they say it's a bag. It's a
It's a
bag.
bag. Yep.
It's a
Yep.
bag, or it's a bagel. It's not a bagel, it's a bagel.
Bagel.
Like, they
Yep.
pronounce their A's weird.
And a water fountain is a bubbler.
Yeah, yeah,
Yep. So, but so I went from there. The only reason I did not get wrapped into that is because my dad was military. So I grew up on a military base. So I
yeah,
always, I had black friends, I had Asian friends, I had, Hispanic friends. It just, the base was always a hodgepodge of diversity. So I was always
yeah,
exposed to it. So I was on the base, and then we got stationed at Minot, North Dakota, and then we moved out to Lansford out in the middle of nowhere. And that was the first time I got exposed to, like, I can't pronounce my R's really well. So rural country life,
yeah,
like very, very country, like farm boy country, belt
yeah, yeah,
buckle trucks, shit kickers. Yeah. And that was an eye opening experience. That was, it's probably, but if you say it's not as bad now, that's good. But when, the first time I brought my wife to Upper Michigan, um, we drove up to Upper Michigan. Now for all that don't know, she's from Jersey. So seeing diversity is pretty common for her, but that's how she grew up her whole life, Jersey. I bring her to Upper Michigan, Upper Peninsula. I bring her to Upper Michigan, Marquette. And we're walking around and we're doing things, and she taps me on the shoulder. And the first thing she says, she was like, "Where's all the black people?" And I'm like, "They're not here. They just don't like living up here. There's like one in that town over there, and that's it. He moved up here a long time ago, and that's who he was, you know."
yeah,
But she was shocked because she had never been to a place that is majority white. Because her
yeah,
school was majority black, or her town was majority black or Hispanic, or she's always been outnumbered. And I bring her to where I grew up, and she's like, "There's a lot of fucking white people up here." I'm like, "Yeah."
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. It's just different cultures, I mean, where I'm from, where I grew up, it's
Yeah.
currently, I mean, it's a lot different than when I grew up. When I grew up uh in Arizona, we had two black families, and that was it. And, everybody was friends with them. Some of their parents were teachers and everything. So I was exposed to them, but I was exposed to them in a different light
Yeah.
than what people imagine, everybody was cool with them, they were cool with us, like, we never had any issues, but I also grew up in a time where, like, I mean, anybody and everybody could say the N word, like, and nobody cared. Like, even the couple of black people that we went to school with, like, they did not care. And I don't know if they didn't show us that they didn't care because they were scared, I don't know, but, like, nobody cared. So I didn't know that that was not appropriate until I got into the military. And as we know, the military is very diverse. So, like, I, my first incident with realizing that it's not appropriate and that it's considered racist, because I didn't know what racist really was. Like,
Yeah. It was
we
just a
had a
word
couple
that
of,
everybody used.
yeah, like, like I said, I may not have had an abundance of Black people where I was from, but we had a few. There's two families, and they had
Yeah.
2 or 3 kids each. Um, one of my good friends when I was in middle school was a Black kid, and everybody said it. Nobody cared. They didn't say, "Hey, you can't say that. Like that's just for us." Like there was none of that. Nobody cared.
We
Nobody cared.
just started this podcast, and now you're admitting that you've said the N-word, and now we're going to get canceled within a day. We're not even going to get our
Probably.
first fucking podcast going because they're going to dig up you when you were 13 years old back in 2000. Like, here she is. She said it.
Yeah.
You didn't wear
Yeah.
blackface too, did you?
No.
Okay. Okay, we're safe on that.
I
We're
was
safe-
always a witch for Halloween. So I had a green face.
That's going to offend some group. I don't know what group. The Wiccans. It'll
Probably.
It'll offend some. We'll offend some. I don't think we so far.
But my point is I don't know, like maybe I was sheltered, right? But we didn't see that they didn't say it was a problem. Nobody was like, "Hey, you can't say that," So
Right.
like
If nobody tells you,
I didn't like my parents never taught us anything about race, right? Like they weren't like, "Oh, Mexicans are bad or Asians are bad," or we had no Asians in my hometown. No, not a single Asian in my hometown. Okay.
Yeah.
We had some Indian folks. One of the guys that I grew up with, played soccer with, he was Indian. His dad was a doctor at the hospital. Like I grew up with this kid. Like I graduated with him. Like, but nobody
Indian.
our parents didn't.
Are we talking Buffalo Indian
Like-
or 7-Eleven Indian?
That might be a little racist. But Indian, like from India.
Okay.
But like my parents never taught us about race. Like they weren't like, "Oh, that's a black person, or that's an Asian, or that's an Indian, or that's an." Race was never discussed.
It wasn't discussed in my house either, and I grew up in the 80s. If you
Yeah.
guys haven't figured out, we are not even close in age. So yeah. So I grew up in the 80s, and maybe it's because I grew up on a base and I was always around diversity. I mean, I learned the N-word was bad day one. I mean, my mom hated that word. And I was on the base, and my dad had friends that come over, because in the military, you always have get-togethers.
Yeah.
So, and it was just, Hispanic, Black, it didn't matter. It was whoever was in the squadron came over and drank and barbecued and played cards. So I got to talk to all the kids, all the adults, the whole 9 yards. So I know one of the bad things that they say now is we're not allowed to say you don't see race because everybody sees race. That's like the talking point now that that's a bad thing to say. You don't see race because people don't believe you. But growing up in the 80s, like in the military, we really didn't. Like it did not dawn on me. Like when I dated Yolanda, it like I didn't even think about it. If the girl was cute, I didn't care. I mean, I dated Indians, Native American Indians, Mexicans, Puerto Rican, white, black. I mean, when I was younger, I was a slut. So, I mean, as long as you had a pulse, I was kind
But
of.
like your parents never were like, "Oh, you can't hang out with them."
No, I brought Yolanda to my house. Like the minute I started dating her, I brought her home and we had dinner, and she got along with my mom just great. My dad loved her. So, I mean, like they didn't think at no point in time was it ever, you can't date so-and-so. Now, I don't know how it was for my sister, because the hard truth is boys and girls just aren't treated differently, because I know a lot of, I knew a lot of families that the son could date whoever they want, but
the daughters couldn't.
But the daughter was like, "You're not allowed to date a black man." Like that was like a running. I've heard that statement before. So I'd have to ask my sister, but I've seen my sister's boyfriends before when she was younger, and they were not predominantly white.
Yeah.
So and my parents never said
I don't know.
anything.
See, like I think I don't know, like, my parents never talked to us about race. Like, I cannot once remember, like, when I moved to Vegas, the school I went to, it was pretty equal between all the ethnicities. There was, a good amount of Black people, there was a good amount of Asians, there was a good amount of Hispanics, there was a good amount of white people, like, you had all of it. And I had friends in every single group. Like, I dated a Black girl for a little while and hung out with all the people that she hung out with.
Yeah.
She hung out with a group of people that I hung out with. I dated a Hispanic girl at one point. I dated another Indian girl. Like, I dated all of it, and I hung out with all of it. And never once, and I'd brought all these people over to my house, and I'd been over to their house, and never once was my mom or anybody like, oh, you can't date her because she's this, or you can't date her because she's that, or are you sure that's a good person for you to be hanging out with? Like, that was
Right.
never brought up.
Yeah, it was
Never.
never brought up to me. So would on a good topic, would you say racism is taught? Because it was the same with my family. My family never said you need to treat them equal. I was never taught not to be racist. I like it never got brought up in school, and I even grew up in schools that like were racist. So, and I didn't turn out like the racist white guy. Like you know,
I think yeah. I think yeah, it's taught. I think you learn it. I think you look at kids, right? Like,
mhm,
you throw a group of younger children together, right?
yeah,
Um, like around 5 to 8, maybe. You throw all these group of kids together, and it doesn't matter what ethnicity they are, they're gonna get along and they're gonna play.
yeah. And they might ask open questions just out of curiosity, out of innocence. Like,
Yeah,
why is your skin dark? Or why is your skin white? Like, or
yeah,
lighter? Like, they ask questions that adults are afraid to ask.
yeah.
Um,
I'm more sensitive about talking about race now as an adult than I ever
yeah.
was when I was younger, because now it's like I where I live and where I work with a good amount of, I've got a decent amount of Black women that I work with. I've got a decent amount of white women that I work with. I've got some Hispanic ladies and men that I work with. So it's a
Right.
very good, healthy mix. And I've asked them, and I'm like, is it bad? Like, is it bad when somebody says like, oh, you're Black? I was like, would you prefer like they say, oh, you're African American, and they're like, I'm not from Africa, and I'm like,
Yeah,
right,
I
but
refuse to say
you're
African American. I will
And
not
I'm
say
like,
that.
right, but your ancestors could be. And they're like, my parents are from America. And
Yeah,
I'm like, okay, so is it politically correct to say that you're Black? Or should I say something else? And they're
yeah,
like, my Black works. And
yeah.
actually working with a decent amount of Black women now, I've learned that Black people can be very racist.
Oh, the
Very
best.
racist.
Well, you've seen the pictures. The best man at my wedding. Ow, he's black as the ace of spades. There is nobody more racist than a black person to another black person.
Yeah. So I work with a
Oh,
a lighter
who?
a lighter skinned Black woman.
Th-
And
yes.
she's told me about like her some of her family members didn't like that she was friends with like a very dark skinned Black person.
There's a hierarchy in the black culture that
Yeah,
lighter the skin, darker the skin, like dark skin has a different, other black people will look at them different. Like there's a
yeah,
hierarchy where
yeah,
I did not know that until I started like really hanging out with some of my black friends and stuff like that and hearing them talk. Like my best friend he went on a 20-minute tangent. He hates the
yeah,
N word.
yeah,
He hates the N word too, but and I would never say it, but he talked about how he hates and he said the N word. Like he deciphers between no, there are black people and then I've never heard him say it. And he went on a
yeah,
20-minute tangent. It's like they're the ones that's fucking it up for us. And I was it shocked me that he was that pissed at other Black people.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah. So the lady I work with, she did the same thing. She went on a little bit of a tangent about how, like, because she's light skinned,
Yeah.
and some of her husband is also Black, and his like mother, so her mother-in-law, um, was very standoffish towards her because she's a light skinned Black woman, and his family is not. And I'm
Right.
like, but you guys are all Black. And she's like, right. She's like,
Oh,
but
no.
light skinned and not light skinned Black people, like they treat each other differently. And I'm like, this is so weird to me because there's nothing like that in the white people community.
No.
Like there's not like I'm very pale. I'm a very pale white person. Like if you were to call me cracker, you better call me saltine cracker because I'm
Oh,
very
yeah.
fucking pale.
Yeah. There's
There's
no
nothing like
burnt
that in
and
the
shit.
yeah,
No.
there's no like, oh, you're whiter than me, so you're like that's not a thing. And I'm like, this
Yeah.
is mind boggling. Like you guys are having your own race battle within your community, but we're racist.
Yeah. That we didn't even start this one. This one has nothing to do with us. Like
Yeah.
y'all came up with this all on your own. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. When I first joined the military and started interacting with um a lot of Black people and a lot of people from other ethnicities, because you get thrown into BMT and you're with everybody, and you got to adapt and figure out
Yeah.
their do's and don'ts real on the
Yep.
fly, you know. Um,
I mean,
but
I
and
got,
I remember my first instant, at my first base, and I still did not know that the N word was considered bad or racist. Right. And let me clarify, I wasn't saying it with an ER. Okay.
oh, the hard R. Yeah. The
Yeah, I wasn't
hard.
saying it with a hard R.
Yeah.
Okay. It was with the A. So,
The
and
soft A.
I still had no idea. So a buddy of mine on flight happened to be a Black guy, and him and I were talking, and I was like, "Yo, what's up?" And I said
Yeah.
the N word with an A, and he was like, "Oh, okay, Hannah, it's like that." And I was like, "What? What's up?" And he was like, "Oh, nothing, man. Like, it's all good." And I was like, "Okay, all right." Well, he had gone into B-Doc and he was laughing about it. And he was like, "Yo, y'all would not believe what Hannah just said to me."
The
And he's
whitest girl
laughing.
in the world just said.
Yeah, and he's laughing. He's laughing about it. Now, our flight chief, who was a master sergeant, he was a Black guy.
Yeah.
And they're all in B-Doc. And Davis is just talking about it, and he's like laughing his ass off, and he's like, "Yo, Hannah just said, what's up?" And he says the word, and our flight chief heard it. And our flight chief was like, "Go get
Oh
Hannah right now."
no.
Okay. So someone comes out, they grab me, and I immediately get pulled into the flight commander's office. So it's my flight commander, who's a lieutenant.
Yeah.
Okay. And then it's my flight chief, who's a master sergeant. And I'm just a little young airman right out of tech school. Like, I have no idea what's going on. And I'm like, oh
Right.
my God, I'm like, oh, I fucked up. I fucked up. What did I do?
Yeah.
What did I do?
I'm in so much
I'm
trouble.
screwed. I'm screwed. And they sit me down, and he starts going off about how like racism will not be tolerated in the military. Like, I don't care where you're from, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, sir, I have no idea what's going on. And he's like, you can't be fucking racist. Like, you cannot call people what you want. And I'm like, I have no idea what's going on. And I'm like,
Yeah.
how am I racist? I don't understand. I was like,
Oblivious.
I guess I guess I was sheltered growing up. I don't know. But, so he's just going off, and he's going off about how like you can't be racist, and like if you're not okay with working with Black people, then like the military is not for you. And I'm like, what did I do? What did I say? And he was like, Davis just told us about how you called him, and he says the word. And I'm like, wait, hold up. And I'm like, I did not know this is offensive. And he's like, how the fuck do you not know? Like, where? And I was like, sir, let me
And most
explain.
people would say that. They were like, there's no fucking way you didn't know.
Yeah. And I was like, sir, let me explain. I said, where I grew up, I was like, where I grew up, everybody used this word. And the black people in my town never told us we could not. And he was like, I don't give a fuck where you're from. I don't give a fuck if you're from the red hickest town on the fucking planet. And I was like, okay, well, that's not okay. And so I just knew that, like, me saying that I don't understand what I did was wrong and
Yeah.
explaining how I was brought up and where I came from, like, I was like, this isn't going to go anywhere. So I have no idea what's going on.
No.
And so I just shut up and I was like, yes, sir, won't happen again. And that was my first
Introduction.
introduction to that that's not okay. And I was like, oh my
Yeah.
fucking god, dude. So I get out of there, and like everybody in BDOC, there's like 6 people in there. They all just heard me get my fucking ass handed to me by our master sergeant and our flight commander. And I was like, Davis, I need to talk to you. And he's like, okay. And I was like, hey, look, I don't know what I did wrong, but I'm sorry. I don't know why it's wrong. I don't know what's going on. I was like, but if I offended you or hurt your feelings or made you feel a type of way, I was like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
My bad. I had no idea. And for the longest time, I was like, I don't understand. I don't understand.
Right.
And then one of my really good buddies that I met on flight, this was like months later, um, a guy that I met who is actually still a really good friend of me today, he's from California. And I was like, yo, dude, can you explain to me why what this is and why this is wrong?
Break
And
this shit.
He's laughing uncontrollably. And he's like, Hannah, he's like, you're so like fucking innocent. And I was like, I don't like, I need you to explain. I don't fucking understand. I don't understand.
Yeah.
And he's like, look, he's like, if you're white, he's like, you can't say with an A, or especially not with a hard R.
Hard R. Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And I knew the hard R, right? Because obviously I've read, To Kill a Mockingjay, and I had read some of the books, that we were required to read in school. And I knew that the ER was bad. I was like, okay, I get why this is bad. Like, I understand that.
Right.
And he was like, no, he was like he's like, that's a black community only thing. And I was like, okay, I did not know that, because where I'm from, the black kids and the black families in our community, we all did it. They called us that, we called them that. Like, it was almost like a term of endearment, or like, like it was almost identical to being like, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
And I was like, so I did not know. And he's like, you're so fucking sheltered in your life. He's like, where the fuck are you from? And I was like, really small town, apparently, where this is not a problem.
Yeah.
So I don't, okay. I was like, don't say it. Got it. And then that's where my like revulsion from that word started, was in that moment. I was like, this is a bad word. Got it. And then I've just become more sensitive to it as time has gone on, and as we talk about all this stuff like in society today. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah. You understood the
it's bad.
assignment. All right.
It's bad.
Yep. Well, this is
I
a
don't know.
very good ending point. Thank you. Hopefully more than 3 people will see this. But if we blow up, I don't want anybody coming back to this very first one, because the production is terrible and we don't know what we're doing. So
Yeah. All a learning experience, and hopefully some people will hang on for the ride.
yeah, hopefully, we will get better quality, better cameras, better mics, better everything. But we only planned on doing this for an hour for the very first one, and we're already at 119, and I got like 1,000 more things I could keep talking about.
Oh yeah.
But
We could be like Sean Ryan. I'm watching an episode of his right now. It's 8 hours long.
I'm an adult. I don't have time for that shit. And
Yeah.
this
Well,
ain't
that's like his whole
paying the
job,
bill.
though.
Right. This ain't paying the bills. This ain't paying the.
Yeah.
We still have jobs we got to go to. I have a wife that's
Yeah.
about to come home. I got to cook dinner for. So, all right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Hannah. We will. We're gonna try to do this every Wednesday.
Yeah, every Wednesday. Hopefully we'll have it posted by this weekend.
Yeah, I'm gonna sit down. So yeah, tomorrow I can't. Tomorrow's my wife's birthday party.
Woo, woo.
Yep. So Friday, I'll try to sit down and nope, not Friday. I work. Yeah, Saturday, I'll try to sit. I'm gonna try to figure this shit out and edit it and get it up. And we got to make a YouTube
Yeah.
channel. You have to do all the other stuff for the podcast stuff because I know YouTube,
Yeah.
TikTok. So, all right.
Yeah. I gotta get the accounts made so we can put I will try we gotta figure that out too of how to get it to me so I can upload it.
Yep. That'll be easy. All right. Take it
Later,
easy.
man.
Have fun. Later. Bye.
Thanks for listening.
Yep.